All right. Hello, everybody. This week we're going to talk about RPR, the Realtors Property Resource from NAR. And I know some of you are on your computer watching this. Some of you in the room have your computer. So please feel free to follow along with this. Some of this presentation is stolen directly from RPR, plagiarism at its best. Some of it is stuff that I've added in. So let's take a look. So what is RPR? So first of all, it's NAR's technology company. It's wholly owned by NAR. It is a national parcel-centric database for residential and commercial properties. So this covers the entire US. It's built exclusively for realtors by realtors. It's part of your member benefit, so no additional charge for it. Consumers do not have access to this. That's a critical thing. So this is where RPR is better than even like RAIN, because RAIN.com, the public facing portion of our MLS, has it has consumer access. Beyond that, there are no ads, there are no pop-ups, there are no email harvesting. They're not trying to sell you anything. So good stuff. Now, where does this fit in with your real estate business model? So, here you are, the center, the hub of your business, and where do you derive information from, right? So you get information from your MLS, you get information from NAR and Hurrah and VAR. Your broker is up here, Long and Foster, Tina, me, the rest of us here in the building. Your community. Now, when we say community, we don't mean your next door neighbor or anything like that. We're talking your real estate community, appraisers, lenders, title people, lawyers. Those are the people that we are talking about for your community. And then RPR. So when you put all this together, it makes a nice wheel of information, data, things like that. So access to RPR is really easy. It's NARRPR.com. And when you go there, you'll be asked to set up an account if you don't already have one. Let's assume that you do. So the first thing you'll do once you log in is you want to set up your profile, load your MLS ID, and load your license number, among other things. So now let's see if this actually follows through. All right, Jan or somebody, can you unmute and let me know if we're gone over to the RPR site? I'm gonna assume everyone sees the new Long and Foster real estate tag on the RPR site. So from within RPR, it should have the company logo here in the upper left. And then in the upper right, you'll click and go to your profile. So this is your profile screen. So with a new account, you'll want to set up your headshot, your individual logo. It allows you to put in your title. Remember from last week's class, I like to use certified residential specialist because I paid a lot for that designation. It should auto pop with your office name and address, but if not, make sure that that's correct. And as you can see here on the right, that still has this at our old headquarters address. So if only I knew somebody that had contact with NAR, I could probably get that corrected. Make sure your mobile number is there, your office number. I'm going to take fax out because I don't know what that number is. We'll just delete that. Your email, which if you don't have a vanity email like this, you want to make sure it's your Long and Foster email address. If you have a personal website there, office website there. And then just below, here's your MLS information. So you'll want to make sure that you have looked up and added RAIN along with your ID, because you want to be able to pull in the right amount of information. If you're licensed in another market, or if you're licensed in North Carolina or you operate in another market area, you'll want to make sure that that MLS is on there. So if you're Williamsburg or Albemarle or Outer Banks or Eastern Shore or anything like that, you can add those multiples in there. I'm going to put your license number in there. Your designations. Now, this will pull directly from NAR. So if you don't have any designations, you might want to go get some. But if you do have designations and they're not displaying, we do have contact information later for you to contact RPR and get things sorted out. So then you want to click save and off you go.
Can I ask you a quick question? Sorry.
Yeah.
Say we have our Blind Foster website. Who created your other website? You have
We hired it out.
Okay, so I didn't know if there's one person in particular you use, because I have some connections. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what
And
I really wanted.
and just a note on that. I was 2-3 years ago we started with the website. So I was in the business 17-18 years before I did a standalone website. So
All right.
I wouldn't worry about investing a lot of money in a website just yet. They can pull it up under.
All our listings show up. It's
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right, so now we're going to go back to the presentation. Let me see if we can see what we're sharing here. All right, we're back to Canva, I think. All right, so part of what makes RPR great is it gives you valuations, right? So we have an estimate of value here. We have the AVM, the automated valuation model. It's an estimate calculated using only the public available information, often advertisement based on websites. So think of Zillow and Realtor.com and Redfin and things like that. You'll see their valuation models, and we'll look at those in a minute. But with RPR, we have the RVM, the Realtor's valuation model. It's calculated using publicly available information as well as MLS active, sold, and off-market data, right? So it pulls from everywhere. It has the highest accuracy of any valuation product available, and it is refinable. And for me, as a refiner under the Buffini definition, this is phenomenal. So what do we mean when we look at?
How long has this been happening?
Huh?
How long has it been?
Several years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, whoops, we jumped way ahead. Well, this is why we're going over.
That's wonderful. Yeah.
So let's take a look at a property that's currently listed in our market, 5308 Albright Drive in Virginia Beach. So this is what's on Zillow, right? It says it's currently listed. It's currently listed for $399,000. The Zestimate says 398.6. So the realtor is kind of on spot with the Zestimate. But look at this Zestimate range from Zillow, 379 to 419. You know, and that's kind of intriguing there. Zestimates are notoriously wrong. The founder of Zillow, Spencer Rascoff, I think his name was, in his book Pillow Talk or Zillow Talk, says that the Zestimate, so the founder of Zillow says the Zestimate is a point of discussion to begin a conversation between a real estate professional and the seller. So we don't want to put too much stock in his estimate. But let's look at the Realtor.com real estimate. So they provide a wide range of values. So according to Collateral Analytics, which is the service out there, they say 405, 590. CoreLogic says 336, 221. Quantarium, I've never heard of them, but they're out there. They say 383, 518. So these automated valuation models are a little bit all over the place. Now we have this even within our MLS. So if you look at Rain and the Realist, and I don't know why the Rain logo didn't come through, but so if you look at the listing in Rain and pull up the Realist tax record, the real AVM from CoreLogic is 338. 900. Now, do you remember what Realtor.com said the CoreLogic number was? 336, 221. So, and they provide a much more conservative range here within Rain to say, you know, their max value is 368, 100. So, you know, these automated valuations are all over the map, which is what makes the value add for hiring a realtor all that more important. Because when we look at the listing, you know, we're going to assign a price to it, but what the Zestimate, what CoreLogic, what all these AVM automated valuation models don't know is that, let's see here, the roof is only, there's 40 years of serviceable life left in the roof. The HVAC is 4 years old. Renovations within the last 4 years. I did not know LeafGuard had a transferable warranty. The Zestimate public information says that yes, there's a pool there, but the pool pump is only 2 years old. Brand new hot tub, which conveys, which that's personal property, so that doesn't really count. And then square footage per sellers as part of the garage was converted into office space, right? So it doesn't have the most accurate information in these AVMs, right? This is why when we do a listing presentation, we go and see the property, right? And the way I do it is I don't assign a price to it until I've seen it, because I've gone there and it says, oh, your the listing, previous listing, the tax records say you have a garage, but no, I pull in the driveway and the garage has been converted to a family room or an extra bedroom or something like that. And that changes things, or right? So what we want to do now, let me stop sharing, go back to RPR. So here, let's go home. And so here's what the main screen of RPR looks like. So I've set up my markets, Virginia Beach being the primary market. This shows you all of the listings that are out there. It identifies them as for lease, price change, pending, closed, that had been for sale, closed that had been for lease, distressed properties. There's still some distressed properties out there. If you have any listings, it will pull up your listings. It'll have reports and things that you've saved, properties you've recently searched, things like that. So what we want to do is we want to play around a little bit with this Albright listing. So let's go here and plug in 5308 Albright. Here it is. And you can do this for off-market properties as well. So it pulls up the basic information. Now it's pulling in the live listing information. And what's interesting is if you look here, the RVM for this property is 382.5, right? So this is again where we have to, you know, do some adjustments, because even the realtor valuation model through RPR, they don't know that the roof is only 10 years old, that the HVAC is only 4 years old, things like that. Those are big ticket items that add value to the property. We can just sort of, can we scroll through the photos again? Nope, doesn't want to let us. But we can modify that. So from here, we can look at information. So here's the list price. We can create a CMA. We can work on refined value. If this is our seller, we can create a seller's net sheet from here. There's the description of the property. And then here's how we can update the property facts. So let's go here. So we're going to start here with this listing, and then we're going to click on Create CMA. And then from within here, we have all kinds of things we can do. So first of all, we can do a comparative analysis, build an estimate based on comps, which is generally what we do, or the sales comparison analysis, which is a little bit more detailed version. So we pull up what's the difference.
The sales comparison analysis.
We don't need the whole video. But there's a little, 45-second video here to say, okay, what is this versus a comparative analysis? So we're just going to do the comparative analysis for now. And we're going to click on Confirm Facts. So here on this left column, we have public record data. And then on the right, we have listing data. And so we have 3 bedrooms, 2, 2, 2, 2, All right, here's where the square footage is different. So the public record says 1477 square feet. Listing data is that converted garage. Now, I talked with the listing agent and she said that it's about a third of the garage that was converted. So you still could fit a car in there. I would be suspicious of that. Maybe a Volkswagen Beetle or a Fiat or something, but I have not seen it, so I'm not going to pass judgment on that. Now, here's where you can add some things in. So what if this were one of those cul-de-sac lots, right? The pie-shaped, little narrow in the front, and or a corner lot. We'd want to maybe see, is this a little bit larger lot than typical for the neighborhoods? Like the typical lot in the neighborhood is 0.2 acres, and this is 0.25 or 0.3. We could add that in here, either by square footage or by acres. Lot dimensions, basement, we don't have here. Still talking with a lot of people like, what do you mean you don't have basements? Well, they become indoor swimming pools. So garage, it says yes, and the public data doesn't have it there. So we're going to say yes for the updated data. Pool, in-ground pool, total rooms 6 in the tax record, 7 here. So that's where they've added that in. Everything else I think lines up. Frame construction, no big whoop there. Exterior walls, they've done wood siding originally, and it's been updated to vinyl at some point. We do see that from time to time. I have a listing right now that when the owner bought it, it was wood siding, and then she converted to vinyl siding. Gosh, maybe 10 years ago. All right, so we're good with all of that. So let's confirm facts. And so that's been updated. We have a nice check mark there. If we need to go back and edit, we can do that. There's a little edit button there. So the next step, and it walks you right through all of this. It's, so easy, even a caveman can do it. So the next step is search for comps. So we'll go here and find comps. And it will automatically default to sort of a certain area for you. Right. So it's going to look for active for sale, pending, active under contract, and closed properties, single family, which is what we're looking at here. You can specify a date range. It's going to default to within the last 3 months. We're going to go last 6 months just to give us something to pull from. Of course, we go 12 or 18 months, or again, specify a date range. Size. I don't know that a 2-bedroom house is comparable to a 3-bedroom house. So I'm going to change this to 3. Living square footage, this is 1605, so I don't think a 1200 square foot house is comparable. So I'm going to change that to 1400, and then 2100 is a little bit large, so maybe 1800, so 200 square feet on either side of this. Lot size, again, if we had a significant lot size here, then I would say yes, let's plug that in. This to me seems like it's probably standard for the neighborhood, so I'm not going to worry about it. Price range, we're going to let that be wide open. Year built, we're going to let that be wide open there. Here's keywords. We could add up to 6 keywords, such as pool or something like that, but we're just going to see what we have for the moment. So let's click on search, and then it populates everything here on the map, so we can see, okay, well, probably over here on this other side of Indian River Road, probably not the best comps, because that's, some of these major roads are a dividing line. So let's sort of ignore this over here for now, focus more on these things on this side of Indian River Road. But let's scroll down and see. So here are the comps. And this is where we're getting sort of our 380 something value for the RVM method. What I love about the comps is it gives you a quick summary here. So here's it's closed. It's 0.3 miles. Let's see if we can blow this up a little bit. Is that easier to see? So it's 0.3 miles. It was on the market 52 days. Here's when it closed. There's the price it closed at. If we want to see what it's all about, we can click that. Pops us into a new window to give us the individual property information. So we can, now can we scroll through the photos? Yes. So now we can look through the photos, just like we do in rain, right? It's like, okay, yeah. So this looks a lot like, similar condition to the subject property, or, oh, this is much nicer than the subject property, or you know what, my subject property is much nicer than this one. So then we can, make those determinations. So I think, this one for 387 is probably good comps. We can click and add it, and look, it adds to the list. It updates the pricing as we go along. And it's 1,521 square feet. So when we look at comps for a subject property, we want to do what's called bracketing. Do we know what bracketing is? So bracketing is we want to find properties that are smaller in square footage and larger in square footage. Right now, if we're lucky and we find identical properties because they're all cookie cutter, and it's like, oh, here's an 1820 square foot, 1820 square foot, same floor plan, perfect. But otherwise, we want to bracket the property. So that's why we did 1,400 square feet to 1,800 square feet, right? And we want to make sure that we have comps from both sides of the subject property. We don't want the subject property at 1,605 square feet, and then all the comps are 1,700 plus, right? We don't want the subject property at 1,605 and then all the comps at 1,500, right? We want to have things on either side to sort of bracket it. And we kind of want to do that with price as well for these sold properties. So if we're trying to get to a $400,000 price, we're going to say, okay, why did this one sell for so little, or why did this one sell for so much? We want to look for those outliers and either rule them in or rule them out. Here's one on the same street, 5328 Albright. About a mile away, it was on the market lamentably for 168 days. But what can we infer about its market time based upon when it closed? It closed February 29th, which is kind of neat. You'll never do that again for 4 years.
Exactly.
168 days, and it closed in February. What do we know about the market time?
Well,
When did it go on the market?
that's, it was.
In the fall. What happens in the fall? Kids go back to school,
Right.
holidays,
Yeah.
Halloween, Thanksgiving,
Inspections.
winter, so it gets a little slower in the winter. So when I see, 168 days, what went wrong? Oh, they were on the market over the holidays, New Year's, things like that. That's understandable, right? 385, that one, price per square foot here in this column, 215, 255. We'll go ahead and add it to the comp. This one is a public record. Now, appraisers don't like to use public records because you can't really get the pictures. You don't know a whole lot about it. But this one gives us, a little bit of insight. This one sold for 371, 1,700 square foot. Probably not a great comp because it's a little lower than the others. So it's like, well, it was a FISBO. It's closed and based upon a public record. So someone bought it privately. We don't know the condition of it, so we're not going to use that. Here's one on Lola, right? 0.23 miles away, $400,000, smaller. So smaller size, more money. I like that. So that's going to be a good comp for me. But let me look here and see. Is there anything else in the information here that I can discern? New hot water heater, cul-de-sac location. Trying to see quickly if it has a pool. No pool. So this actually makes me feel really good about this comp for a good hefty price for 5308 Albright, because it sold for $400,000, slightly smaller square footage, and no pool. Right? Really strong comp because we have the pool that's going to give us extra value. This one, I don't even know why this is in here. It looks like it's attached. Well, two-story doesn't matter, but it looks like it's attached. This one looks like it's attached. This one looks like attached. So we're going to skip those. Here's attached. Attached. Indoor, yeah, all of these are not the best comps, but we have 3 good comps right here. And so you can see it's updated the valuation based upon these comps. We're going to click update and close, and that's going to take us back and let us move on to the next thing. So the average of the comps is 401,250. So, and if our seller said, I'd like to get close to 400 for it based on what I've seen in the neighborhood, or if that's what we're feeling for the price, we now have validation that that's a good price for the property. So now we get to go in here, we can click on adjust comps. And this is where we can get really, really into the weeds. So we have Bagpipers, Albright, and Lola, and we can adjust the scale to say, okay, this is a better property or this is a worse property. And you see what happens here right below that as you move along, it adjusts and takes values off, okay? Now this is going to require us to go and look at these individual properties and say, okay, 1 story, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, that's what we have, 1521 square feet. We're a little bit larger. We can scroll through the photos. And if we had looked at the photos for 5308 Albright, we would see that this is very similar in quality. They've done some renovations here. So I'm going to say this is probably similar overall, okay? And then let's look at 5328 Albright. 1 story, ooh, this one has solar. Now that only adds value in the buyer's mind. It actually, and we've had Betsy Hughes in here from BK Appraisals talking about solar with us before. Appraisers do not add much value at all, if at all, for that. But let's see. Backs to a creek, so this one may be a little bit nicer. Let's see, doesn't have a pool though. $385. We'll say, whoops, I was going to look at we didn't look at the photos. We just got all excited about the solar. So we'll look at the photos. All right, pretty nice inside. The kitchen's been renovated, but I don't think it's as nice as the subject property. Although I do think this is the same layout. Bathroom's been updated. This is nice. I may let it go as being, I'm going to say this is probably a little bit less. Even though it has more square footage. See, no pool. Yard's not great at all. Still has the wood siding. All right, so I'm going to go back here and I'm going to say, you know what? This is just a smidge worse. Right, so not quite the same, smidge worse. Now let's look at Lola. Let's scroll down here again. No pool. So we're ahead of the curve there. Pretty nice quality. Kitchen with granite. They didn't follow our rules of getting all the magnets off the refrigerator. There's a little doggy door right in the wall. This one I think is probably comparable to the subject property. Entirely paved backyard, no grass to mow, that's for certain. I mean, that is a lot.
It is a lot.
How much concrete do you think that cost, Jenny?
Yeah, I was gonna say $5,000.
Oh my goodness. All right, so we'll let that ride there. So it's pulling in the information from the MLS that we have a pool, the others do not. When you generate a report, you can actually, add some things in here. And this may be where, if you've read through the listings and it's like, okay, it's a 30-year roof that's 15 years old. Okay, you may want to put that note in there, kind of thing. just to have on hand. So let's update the valuation and close this screen. And you can see that's bumped us up just a little bit to 407. Now we can create the report. And this is where I encourage you to play around with these reports, because you have lots and lots of reports and you have lots of ways you can customize them, right? So this is where you just have to get in and play around. Just arbitrarily pick a property, use your own home, use a neighbor's home, use a friend's home, something like that, to sort of play around with this, generate these reports kind of thing. So the seller report is approximately 81 pages, right? Individual property report, 28 pages. You can do a property flyer, right? So if you just want a quick flyer for an open house or whatever, you can do that. Mini property reports, 12 pages. Evaluation workbook, 74 pages. Market activity report. This is based upon neighborhood activity, 26 pages. Neighborhood report, 10 pages, again, just for the neighborhood. And school reports that's not available for this address, which I think is silly. So let's look at the seller report. Let's see. That's the whole page kind of thing. So this is basically what it looks like. It's a little bit nicer than the RAIN CMA. There are the facts. Here's more facts about the home. It gets pretty detailed. So that's obviously not our subject property, but this is, what it looks. So this is great to email to your clients. So all kinds of good stuff there. So you can personalize your report with a little cover thing. You can download a PDF or you can email it to yourself. It will have your information on it, your logo, company logo, things like that. Let's go ahead and run report. Probably take a minute. Yeah, you get a pop-up message when it's ready. And your reports live here. So if you go back to the top, these are your reports that you've generated here. Seller's report, whoops. And it's finalizing, you can see there. We'll let it do its thing.
That's pretty cool.
So we'll let that sit. We'll get an alert when it pops up. Here at the very top, when you log in, you have guided tours. Oops, I just saw our report pop up. Let's go grab it. All right, so here's our report, company logo at the top. Now, photo from the MLS, but you'll want to, have a good photo of the property. My information, Long and Foster has a couple of things in here. Financing, some of this is going to be identical to Moxie. So here's Long and Foster Settlement Services, Long and Foster Insurance. And these are things you can add in or take out as you see fit. When you customize your property management, you always want to mention that property management has its an opportunity there. Tailored move, Foster Insurance again. Looks like there's some duplication here. Lots of duplication.
Just like that.
Yeah, you can definitely go in and take pages out. So here's where we get to the seller's report, the meat of it. So here's the property. Since it's active, it's in the MLS for $399. Current estimated value 382.5 based upon the RVM information, but it's changed the range up to 421. So that's nice. Our comp analysis is 407 and $1, like the Price is Right. And then it goes in, here's the facts. Here's your AARP livability index, right? So we get a 56 out of 100 based on AARP's ratings. Here are the property photos. And it does the same for the comps we pulled. It pulls in all those photos. But here's something I want to look at for a minute. Scroll back up. So it said, based upon just the 3 comps we pulled, that our comp analysis is 407. Now the listing agent has it priced at 399. It of course received multiple offers. I talked with the agent yesterday. Anyone want to take a guess at how many offers they received?
8.
Not quite. More than that, more than 8.
6.
15.
I was gonna say, that was my first guess.
They
but I was
received
like,
15
eh.
offers. 7 of them were over list price. They finally settled on an offer for $420,000 with a $15,000 cash guarantee. So her list price was great. Our comp out price was great. And of course, we'll get it. We didn't actually do an adjustment for the pool, but that pool will be the saving grace. And that will probably get us closer to this 421. I don't think we'd have a problem appraising at 420 if you go and look for properties with pools in the neighborhood. I think you'll be fine there. So let's go back to what I was talking about before. So the great thing about RPR is there's a lot of training modules, guided tours. You can do a property search, prospect. You can actually print labels out of here and send mailings. It can show you market trends. You can do a map search, create CMA reports, and then there's RPR mobile. So RPR mobile is great. You can scan the QR code there to get it if you want a great app on your phone. And when we go back to the presentation, where was it? Oh yeah. Nope, that's the PDF. That's not what I wanted. There we go. So again, you could scan for the mobile app or just search RPR on the App Store. So here's a quick look at RPR mobile, right? You can do searches, create a buyer tour, look at market trends, share things right from RPR mobile to social media. It'll bring up a subject property. You can look at school information. It has a tool for a mortgage calculator. So, you know, what if, you know, this house is 549.9 and I do a 20% down payment with today's interest rate, you know, what's a rough guesstimate? You can plug in that information there and again, provide them a guesstimate. You want to refer them back to Prosperity for hardcore numbers. But more importantly, if you look at the last image there, it provides points of interest. So a lot of us operate in neighborhoods that we're not as familiar with as where we live. So it's like, oh, I don't know where restaurants are. I don't know where the schools are. You can plug in these points of interest and say, okay, where are the schools? Bam, bam, bam. Where are restaurants? Bam, bam, bam. Where's the bus stop? Bam, bam, bam. Where's the library? Bam, bam, bam. So it's great to be able to do that on the go. And then, so here's your resources. You want to log into RPR at narrpr.com. They have a blog, blog.narrpr.com. And then member support, that number I'll be calling to update our headquarters information at some point. And then, as I mentioned, from the home screen, if you go up to help, then you can see all of their online learning resources, which is great. They have short videos, long videos, on-demand webinars. We have just scratched the surface with RPR today, right? What we have looked at is maybe 1/10 of what RPR can do. The most exciting thing is that you can generate sort of annual CMA reports or neighborhood reports or something like that for your customers so that they can see, you know, with independent data, what the neighborhood looks like, kind of thing. They can find out more. You can email this to them and they can click through and find out more information on the schools or on what's nearby, things like that. So lean into RPR because It's going to be a valuable resource for you. All right, so with that, we'll open it up for any questions if anyone has any.
So actually, it'd be better to set it up on the computer first.
I would start
Because, yeah, because I'd have to.
start on your computer first, because there's a lot to go over. And then once you get a little familiarity with it on your desktop computer or on your laptop, then you can switch over to the RPR mobile. The mobile version is great for when you're in the field and they say, okay, well, what's with that house down the street? You know, I think it just sold. You can say, okay, let's plug in. We're at 123 Sesame Street. Let's look at 127 Sesame Street. Plug it in. It's like, here's the information. It sold 6 months ago. Here's this, here's that. And unlike that one that was the private sale that we saw in our comps, you know, we can pull up the information on that house, say, okay, well, it sold privately. It was really low price. So maybe it was trashed inside or dated or whatever. But, you know, it's great for on the fly kind of thing. All right, so with that then, if there are no other questions, then we will conclude this training, and I look forward to seeing you all next time. Have a great day.